So the GoPro Hero 11 recently came out and there's a few minor upgrades from the Hero 10. So if you've already got the GoPro 10, should you upgrade to the 11? And if you've got neither of these cameras, which one should you buy? Welcome back to the channel, my name's Chris Spice and I make videos reviewing gear and talk about filmmaking on the go. So if that's something you're into, then hit that subscribe button. I just wanted to jump on here quickly today and talk about the Hero 11 and the Hero 10. I'm in a privileged position right now where I've got both of them, so I wanted to compare them and see whether it is worth the upgrade or not. So let's start with perhaps the biggest change of the GoPro Hero 11, and that is the sensor. Now GoPro have actually changed the sensor to an 8x7 sensor, and what this means for video at least is you can record using the full width of that sensor, which is almost like a square, and it makes it really easy in post then to crop into a 16:9 image or a 9:16 image. Now obviously this opens up a whole world in terms of versatility, but it's worth noting that you can only do this in 5.3K at 25 frames per second, so you can't actually go up to the 50 or 60 frames per second. To do that you have to go down to 4K, and in reality from my testing there's not actually a huge difference between the 5.3K and the 4K. So when you're cropping into 16:9 from these, you're not really going to notice too much of a big difference. Now the ability to record in the full width of the sensor and crop a vertical image out of this is great, and in theory should get better results than recording in 16:9 on the GoPro Hero 10 for example, and then cropping into vertical. But the actual results aren't as simple as that. You see, when you're recording in 8x7 on the GoPro Hero 11, you're recording extremely wide because obviously you're using the full width of that sensor. And so to zoom into something like a linear field of view that you'd get on the GoPro Hero 10 for example, you have to zoom in quite far. And it comes to the point where you've zoomed in so far that you've actually got a worse quality image than if you just turned the camera on its side and recorded like this in the linear mode in 5.3K. Still though, the difference really is minimal, so I won't worry about it too much. And actually it's worth the trade-off in versatility in my opinion, especially when most of my GoPro videos go on Instagram anyway, so no one's really pixel peeping there. And the benefit of this 8x7 big wide image is that you can now get hyperview, which basically takes this whole sensor, squashes it into a 16:9 image, and what you get is a really wide shot. Now again, this is only available in 25 frames per second at 5.3K, but I do think some people really appreciate the extra wideness of this kind of shot. And the final thing that this new sensor opens up on the GoPro Hero 11 is the horizon lock. Now obviously on the 10 we had some sort of horizon lock, I think it was maybe to about 45 degrees, but after a certain point of rotating it, it eventually stopped locking on and the horizon wouldn't be locked anymore. The benefit of the 11 though is it's using that full square sensor, so the horizon lock actually goes all the way 360. So no matter how much you're tilting this thing, you can absolutely go crazy with it and the horizon will be locked. Is this a game changer though? Honestly, if it was me, I'd rather see some of the horizon moving if I'm watching some action sequence or something, because I want to feel like I'm there in the moment, and I don't feel like horizon lock really does that. So while maybe some people might find a use for it, I don't think it's a big game-changing feature on the Hero 11. Another new feature on the GoPro 11 is the addition of 10-bit, whereas the GoPro 10 only films in 8-bit. This should allow you to color grade your footage a little bit more intensely before the image starts falling apart, and could actually increase the dynamic range as well. In reality though, I'm actually struggling to see the difference between the 8-bit and the 10-bit. Even when I'm trying to push the color grading as far as possible, I'm not really seeing much of a benefit of recording in the 10-bit format over the 8-bit. I'm sure there is some extra information here somewhere and maybe there's something I'm missing. If so, let me know down below in the comments. And so I don't reckon this should be a deciding factor when you're choosing which of these cameras to buy. The microphones haven't really changed much between the GoPro Hero 10 and the Hero 11, but in my opinion the GoPro already had one of the best microphones in an action camera as it is. So what you're hearing now is the audio from the Hero 10, and what you're hearing now is the audio from the Hero 11. Let me know in the comments, do you think there's a difference or do you think they sound the same? What I can see though is the difference in image quality. Now throughout all of these comparison images, one thing stays true, and that's the fact that the GoPro Hero 11 actually has more detail in the image. Now I've been pixel peeping a little bit to see if it's just someone's turned up the clarity or the sharpness a little bit, but I can confirm that there's actually more detail in the image than on the GoPro Hero 10. This isn't just for 10-bit either. If you go down to 8-bit, the same remains true, which says it's either something to do with the sensor or the way they're processing the image differently. Hopefully in these comparison images you can see on my face, for better or worse, it's definitely more detailed on the GoPro Hero 11. I'm not sure how I feel about this, to be honest. Having extra detail is always good in an image, but I did like the GoPro Hero 10 because I think that softer look lends itself to cinematic footage a bit more. And talking about cinematic footage, if you do want to get cinematic with these cameras, you're going to need a set of ND filters. Now these are ones from Freewell. Freewell is the only brand I'll use for action camera ND filters. I've used them for a while, I've made videos on them, and I do think they're always really, really high quality. So you can either go for a standard day pack where you get your polarizer plus an ND 8, 16 and 32, or you could go for a bright day pack where you get those same NDs with the polarizer built in, plus an ND 64 with the polarizer built in as well. Now ND filters will help keep your shutter speed to double your frame rate, which produces a nice natural motion blur. If you're not using NDs, you're going to end up with really fast shutter speeds, which can make the image look unnatural because it doesn't have the motion blur that video is supposed to have. They come in this nice little carrying case with a 4-pack, just like that, so they're easy to carry around and they're super easy to put on the GoPro as well. All you have to do is twist your GoPro lens protector off just like that, and then twist your ND filter on in exactly the same way, and bang, you're ready to shoot cinematic footage. So these are compatible with both the GoPro Hero 10 and the Hero 11, and it really is that easy to get better footage from those GoPros. If you're interested in these products, then do check my link in the description. In terms of stabilization, if I'm honest, I do think it's much of the same here. I've maybe noticed some improvements in the Hero 11, but maybe that's something to do with the new Auto Boost stabilization mode. Now basically what Auto Boost is doing is it's detecting how much the camera is moving and then cropping in to stabilize based on that. So in theory, if you're not moving too much, you should get a wider image. This works quite well, and I do think it's a good example of how stabilization should be done, to be honest. Even on something like the Sonys, which I'm filming with right now, the active stabilization crops into the image by 1.1 times. And it'd be nice if it could sort of automatically do that depending on how much you're moving the camera. So in conclusion then, should you be upgrading your GoPro Hero 10 to a Hero 11? So in my opinion, the only thing that would get me to switch from the Hero 10 to the Hero 11 is this new sensor size. That obviously allows you to film in this new full frame mode, so you can crop any video to vertical or landscape orientation, depending on what platform you're posting in. See, I've been taking the GoPro a lot on holiday recently and filming in vertical, which looks great on reels when you get home, but when you're trying to watch back the footage, I kind of wish I'd filmed in landscape. Now with the GoPro 11, I don't have to choose between those. Other than that though, the stabilization is similar. The 10-bit really isn't adding anything for me, and everything else just feels roughly the same. If you haven't got a GoPro at all and you're in the market for one, then you've got to ask yourself, do these little features mean something to you? If so, definitely worth getting the 11. But if not, you could save the money, get the Hero 10 and spend the rest of the money on adventures or even accessories to make the 10 a little bit better. That's not the 10. But if you're thinking of upgrading from the 10 to the 11, I think it's a bit more of a hard sell, to be honest. If you're making a lot of money from your GoPros, then why not? But if you're not, then it really becomes a bit more difficult to recommend upgrading. Maybe it's worth waiting another year, seeing what they come out with, so that your upgrade becomes more worth it. And that's not because the 11 is a bad camera. I actually think it's a great camera. It's because the 10 was such a great, well-rounded action camera that I'd recommend to a lot of people, and 11 is just an incremental upgrade to that. That's been it from me. If you found this video helpful, hit the thumbs up button. Let me know in the comment section down below whether you think the GoPro 11 is worth the upgrade, and if you want to see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.